Welcome back to coverage of Glasgow 2018 here in a rather sunny Somerset. This is unusual, I'm not used to this. Benjamin is joined in the commentary booth by Nick Roberts for this game, where we've got the Mexicans in black taking on Guildford in white. And Guildford 2-0 up already. This is a good start to the game for them.
Yeah, they're probably as surprised as you are, if I'm perfectly honest. They had a very good night last night. We had a very solid win this morning first thing, and yeah, seems to be doing pretty well in their second game so far.
Seeing a little replay of some of the best bits from the first 2 points that you may have missed. There's a nice shot of Izzy getting it in the face. Sorry, Izzy.
She seemed to take that well. A hard skull, I think she said immediately afterwards that happened.
I mean, she is slightly terrifying, so she probably enjoyed it. Going to try and sneak outside. Now the sun's out. It's really unusual. I'm not used to this weekend, but it's turning into a really nice afternoon, which is unusual. Oh, that hammer's going to helix a little bit, and oh, Callahan's. Well, that's talking about a good start to Guildford. It's getting a little bit better, isn't it?
It's better to be lucky than good, sometimes we say, and you can't teach tool is another good classic.
The thing is, that really annoys me because I've really tried to learn tool and it just hasn't worked.
Yeah, no, Tickle's, so that is Tickle, short for Tickle Monster, as you might have guessed if you saw him. He is quite a long, lanky guy, but also very experienced. I guess that helps, you know, you read the play and you catch the disc when you can.
How long and lanky are we talking? Just a ballpark?
About 7 foot, probably.
Oh, that's disgusting. I'm pretty sure a few years ago we had a play against, maybe back when he was playing for limited release, and there was some sort of marking blow up, and I had to mark against him. I was like, this is the biggest height mismatch I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's unfair when it happens.
Still got to make the best of it.
So I feel as being average height, I'm slower than the short, runny people, but definitely shorter than the tall, lanky people.
You see, I'm short but also slow, so it's like the double loss. Mexicans moving just down the field. This is nice.
In their patented hex.
Oh, throw bladed, was coming back in bounds. Couldn't get a hand on it. I think it would have been in bounds had he made the catch.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Seems to be happy with that defense.
I'm just waiting for the brothers Shardlow to match up. I think that's what we all came to see in this game. Looking for an underneath pass.
Yeah, Ed's been ringing for 2 teams this weekend. He's been playing for a Masters team and for Guildford. And there's a bit of a team clash during this period, but he's decided to play for this particular game, mostly to be on the live stream.
I was going to say, I wonder why that is, but I think we know exactly why that is. And to be honest, I think there's probably a couple of players this weekend who are playing for multiple teams, and I think in those situations, generally you want to go for the glory, don't you? That's generally how it works. If you are listening and watching, please do get in touch. It's always nice to hear from you. You can find me on Twitter. I am at Benjamin Rees. There it's popping up nicely on the little screen for you. No, it's totally not vain getting that graphic made.
Definitely worth it. So Guildford with the disc again, looking to try and get their third score.
Fourth score. Yeah, you mentioned Guildford having a good night last night. The Mexicans very much in the same boat, and they're probably not having a bad morning either. Really embracing the Glasgow spirit.
Yeah, I think that comes at £5 a bottle, doesn't it?
As much as that. I mean, coming from London and being able to buy drinks and actually have money left at the end of the day is...
Yeah, change from a 20 is pretty nice after a while.
I mean, and it's lots of change from a 20 as well. If you guys can get what we're getting at here. So Guildford just rocking and rolling right now, 4-0 up. This is a bit more blowouty than I was expecting. That's a verb. That's an adjective, right? Blowouty.
Yeah, I don't know what you're trying to mean by it, but it definitely is a word. Yeah, no, I think it's going pretty well. It's a nice young team from Guildford. They don't usually have their normal Guildford players. About half of them are the current University of Surrey students. So shout out to TSU, who are repping pretty well this weekend. And there's a few sort of old hands like Tickle and Brendan who are sort of keeping things under control as well. Ash Long with the pull. Nice little roller, and that's out the side. Looks like a zone again. They did very well in their first game of the zone, so they're obviously feeling more confident with it. for their second game today.
Yeah, there's a bit more wind in the air today than there was yesterday, so not necessarily a bad strategy, although one of the advantages of playing this hex offense is that your players are naturally spaced out, so they've got space to work against these zones. Dished off towards the far sideline.
Yeah, I think a lot of these players might not have faced hex that often, so it could be their undoing if Mexicans find their groove with it.
Just working it around the back now, really emphasising this quick disc movement and taking these open passes, even if they're not positive yardage gains. That's a nice little scuba over the top to open things up a bit.
Lots of passes, but not really made that many yards. Maybe Guildford can keep the pressure on.
Yeah, it's a bit of a grind so far, but got to stay patient. That's a nice option down that far sideline. Oh, but that's just, as I say that, maybe put the mockers on them a bit.
I think Sian was looking for his brother Ilias, but he's not here today, so no...
so who do you throw to then?
Exactly. No one, the ground, in fact.
Yeah, and I've done the research. The ground actually not on their team this weekend, so...
I don't know, if anybody says the ground is always open.
Annoyingly, oh, that's a big hammer.
Too big.
And you know if it's too big for Tickle, that really is too big. He's unfairly tall. So there's that zone from Guildford. Ball pops in the cup. Oh, he's going to lash it down to the far sideline, and the wind's just going to take it harmlessly out of bounds.
It's a too small a pitch, I think that's the problem.
Yeah, the pitch is not quite regulation size, so that everyone can be squeezed in here. Nice towing down the far sideline. Looking for an option. Not really seeing anything. Going to shoot
hammer again. That's a great take from Brendan Thorne in the end zone there.
Nice little bit of acrobatics. That's good. So 5-0 to Guildford. This is a very strong performance from them. Less strong from the Mexicans. I won't lie to you.
But it's not all about the results. It's all about having fun, right? And look at those heads. They are having a lot of fun, I can tell. Or that could just be the hangover.
What do you mean hangover?
You have to stop drinking for it to be a hangover, don't you?
Yes, exactly. And that sounds pretty boring if you ask me. Obviously, with two nights of partying under the belts now, it's definitely seeing a few tired faces around the complex. One of which being my own. Can't go to Glastonbury and not hit the party. So I heard somebody went to bed at 12 last night. That's disgusting.
That is a very shocking fact, if true.
I don't know who that would be, but obviously an inherently terrible person.
Well, luckily I'm not playing, so therefore that doesn't count. There's no unfair disadvantage to the teams.
Clock says 8 minutes.
Isolating the dump, shooting deep. Oh, it's going to pop up. Oh, catching the D at the second attempt.
It's a great shot though, nice huck. And just unfortunately Ash read it and got there just in time with the block, if not the catch.
Looking for a swing instead, forcing it up the line. That's a lovely lead pass.
So that's Nick Sweeting. He's this year's TSU men's captain. It was his birthday yesterday, so for those who went to bed at 12, there are other people who definitely did not, and Birthday Boy was definitely one of them.
Strong work. Strong work. So 6-0 now. I would probably expect to see a timeout here from the Mexicans.
There we go. Well called, yeah.
You know, it's a bit of a surprise we haven't had one already. I think they just need to get more tequila on board.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of a drinks break as a timeout break.
I think they'd be better off turning the disc over less and scoring more.
You've played the sport before.
Badly, yes. do as I say, not as I do.
No, that's why I became a coach.
It's so much easier, isn't it? This is why I moved into the booth.
Is that the next progression? Is it?
Yeah, you're infallible up here. You can say what you want, and no one can know how terrible Ultimate you are because they never have to see you play. It's great.
This is maybe a sort of a bad narrative for where I am at the moment. It's my first booth experience, but thanks for having me along this morning.
Yeah, I'm sure you're still good at Ultimate. But it's a pleasure to have you along with us, especially have you along with us watching at home, wherever you may be. Hopefully the sun's come out for you as well. I can't believe it. It was so miserable yesterday, and now it actually looks like a nice afternoon. Nothing but blue sky out in front of us. Definitely seemed like there was a point a couple of days ago when we were forecast non-stop thunderstorms today, and there was a genuine worry whether we'd get any play today.
Yeah, no, I thought that as well. It seemed there was a bit of a tropical typhoon was our forecast, but no, today it's been all right.
Got away with it a little bit, which is nice.
A bit of boring tent logistics. Luckily, I didn't take it down this morning when it was raining, and now it's going to be nice and dry for a takedown this afternoon.
Oh yeah, good spot. Oh, we'll try to throw a grape into his mouth and catch it, and he stuffed it up. He's going for it again.
He's gone bigger.
Oh, it's high, it's high, it's high. Oh, he's nailed it.
That's the best catch I've seen all weekend.
I don't know. We've had some pretty good. No, that's amazing. But you can't do 3 at once, Will. Mexicans putting another line on. Interesting to see what if they can actually punch the disc in.
Yeah, hopefully after this timeout they found their feet again. They've worked out a bit of a tactic. Maybe they'll stick with Hex. Maybe they'll change it round.
No, they'll stick with Hex. I'll put money on it.
Yeah, slow to find their shape, but yeah, they definitely have gone to that Hex setup.
I think it's part of the rules of playing Mexicans is that you have to play Hex.
Oh, is that
It's actually
Felix's contract, is it, for playing in the
it's written into the Constitution, yeah. That's just an unfortunate drop. Straight into the chest, but bounces out.
We have a Chardonnay pairing on the pitch, not yet marking each other yet.
Come on, get that switch. Give the crowd what they want to see. Pivoting around. Ooh, a little tip on that. It's going to be enough to take it out of there.
He's long, but he's not long enough to get around that hand block.
Just being picked up from the wing position.
So you have Tom Davies on the force. He's again another young TSU student. He's definitely having his breakout year last year.
Ugh, young people. It's disgusting as Charlotte puts it. Oh my God,
To
Sion's
unmarked.
wide open. It's not one in the same postcode.
And there's that Bobby with the score. Yes, it is.
Nicely done, Bob. Strong stuff. And then finally the Mexicans get on the board. I mean, they would have obviously preferred to get on the board a bit earlier, but it's nice to see that they haven't forgotten how to score entirely.
Clearly that timeout was a good idea. If they can just call 5 more timeouts and 5 more scores, they could be doing all right.
How many timeouts do you get a game?
So the odd thing about Ultimate, obviously the rules keep on changing depending on which tournament you're playing. I think it's probably 1 or 2 for a tournament like this.
I mean, surely he can put a word in with Ed and be like, yeah, can we just keep taking timeouts? No one. We can just have a drinks break anyway.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure Ed's open to corruption.
You know, when he watches this back, it's going to be like, hey. However, I'm sure his business practices are more than above board.
Well, he's the Guildford accountant and finance, so hopefully he's doing okay, or at least creatively accounting in the favour of Guildford, if not himself.
That we're sure he'd never fudge any accounts, especially not for his own company. Surely highly reliable. Decent pull. Coming into this flexi defence. High stall count. Thinking about trying to jam it through. Finds an option on that break side. Going to go for the deep. Might hang a little bit. He's going to go beyond them.
Nice lefty sidearm, but unfortunately just too much pressure.
Yeah, it should have been a righty. Would have been easier.
Yeah, he should really change how he throws.
And just completely change hands, right? I mean, lefty's more difficult than righty anyway, so I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I definitely can't throw left-handed, so I don't know why he's bothering. Speaking of big throws, nice. Oh, that's a perfect shot.
Lovely hammer, but not quite in the end zone just yet. Defender does the right thing and peels off onto the cutter, but a little bit of shake and bake and jink and jive at the front of the end zone, and it's Mexicans on the break train now. Still a big deficit, but maybe they were just lulling Guildford into a false sense of security.
Well, exactly. Give the crowd what they want. The comeback is always more exciting than a close game.
That is true, yeah. We had I mean, in the Masters final yesterday, Janitors dug themselves a 4-0 hole, and then came back to win. So 4-0's not 6-0, but I guess the larger the deficit, the more exciting the comeback.
Exactly. How did you feel the Masters Nationals sort of fitted in with the Glasgow experience?
I think it's nice having it, but incorporating it into a tournament like this. It'd be difficult to organise on its own.
Yeah, I agree.
But incorporating it into something else and having them feed into the tournament afterwards means it's much more of a destination, and also it means that the party's bigger as well, which I'm never against. That ball's going to sail out the back of the end zone.
Big shot. I think that's slightly into the wind. So nice big huck there. Unfortunately, too big.
Yeah, maybe a little too much. Maybe taking advantage of the clubhouse's excellent breakfast, having too much Weet-Bix this morning, maybe.
Yeah, all the bacon, sausage, eggs, and hash browns. We'll just never know.
How good are hash browns, right? How good are hash browns?
That's worth the £5 fare just by themselves.
Charlotte puts it deep. Oh, nearly posterised him.
So that is Gandhi. His name is Andy, and he's ginger, so he is called Gandhi.
Is this the same? So it's a bit like Gash being the Ginger Flash.
Exactly, yeah. You'd think Ultimate players would come up with better nicknames, but year and year, that's never the case.
No. I mean, there's a couple of decent nicknames on the Mexicans, but nothing hugely outrageous. I mean, especially when you compare to other sports, some of the hideous nicknames people end up with. And actually, having said that, I've played with some really un-PC nicknames. I think we all have over the years. Big calls of no around from the sideline, and so obviously then get the around break comes off.
Yeah, you should listen to the sideline.
Charlotte just needs to shout harder. Bob faking, taking the pass off to that far sideline. Swinging it around the back. Ah, vintage Mac, nice little scuba.
Mexicans have found their flow.
Little pops hammer over the top. Another scuba to this near side.
Side to side action.
They're so much fun to watch when they get in their groove, because they these risky / creative throws are pretty safe. And did he catch that? It just about hits the ground.
That deserved a score. Some nice work by Mexicans, but unfortunately, just too much pressure for that final catch in the end zone. Can Guildford bring it back? Again, the defenses are picked up by Mexicans. Lots of switching as well. That mid space being constrained by an under poach and a deep poach.
Looking deep. Bob's got position, and no one's guessing. Hello, there's a dog in the end zone. And not only that, the dog's wearing white and black, so we don't even know which team it's on. That's disgraceful behaviour. Pick a side.
Maybe that's who the huck was aimed for. They thought, it's on free in the end zone. Let's go for that.
Looks like a very good boy, though.
Reminds me of Dan Berry's collie, Zach, who is the unofficial mascot of Guildford Ultimates.
Do you have an official mascot?
Yeah, that's Dan Berry.
Oh, right. No offence, but I might vote for the dog. Sion cracks open the hammer. Nice pass downfield.
Yeah, the junk zone is working well for Guildford, but as soon as Mexican just swing it, they're just breaking through and just finding too many easy options.
Yeah, the wind steers off a little bit as well now, so these overheads are no longer anywhere near as fluttery and risky as once they were. See motioning cutters downfield. Oh, there's the hammer towards the back of the end zone. Really well read and reeled in, and another break for the Mexicans. 6-3 the current scoreline.
Is time going to be on their side, or is there enough time on this scoreline for Mexicans to come back? About 20 minutes of gameplay still to go.
I think I've got faith in them. Not that I'm biased or anything. I just want to see a nice tight game. And lots of silly things It's Glasgow. I don't
It
want...
is Glasgow.
If teams playing nice, boring, sensible, grinded out Ultimate, it's nowhere near as fun as teams like just rinsing it and launching it. And
I mean, yeah, it must be said that most of the, well, maybe on both teams, but Guildford's got a lot of clean white shirts. There's not been many bids or layouts to please the crowds.
And you thought, especially with how wet it was yesterday and how slick the turf could be, even if you just fall over, you'd get a bit of mud on there. Bob with the ball's going to go into the end zone. They're going to choose to let it drop rather than field it and risk the drop ball.
Oh, Bobby knew there with a quick interception on that first pass. To Harsh, again another first year TSU student. Nice little lead pass to Ash. And a score from Rose.
Nicely done right at the front corner of the end zone. And that's going to take us into half-time with Guildford currently 7-3 to the good.
Yeah, it's a very well-worked open size string of passes. But not easy, under pressure from Mex the entire time, but well set up cuts and good continuation.
Yeah, obviously if you're a Mexican team, you're going to be disappointed to be getting beaten to that line. That's the area that your defence is generally predicated on defending, but just about squeaks it in there. And see it again from the low angle on the replay. Working it down the line. It's actually a really nicely weighted pass. Enough zip on it to get there, but not so much that it slows out. And there's a lovely shot of the Glastonbury tour.
I think that's been a bit of a party venue for some of the teams as well this weekend. I think.
I mean, it is the autumn equinox, so.
Ah, really? So they'll be fighting off some of the locals to have prime position.
That's one of the more interesting half-time stretches I've seen.
Is that the lesser known Glastonbury tour?
Yeah, that feels like a lot of work. Do you think we could try and recreate that on the sideline?
Yeah. You get me back. Let's see what we can make happen.
Maybe the other way around. Both teams currently in their half-time huddles.
Yeah, the timeout for Mex definitely reinvigorated them, so hopefully they will come out with either more effort and determination for the second half. I'm sure we'll see many more points from them before this game is over.
Yeah, obviously they'll be wanting to bring it closer and closer and eventually all the way to a win. Hello, what's that mysterious substance that...
It's this performance enhancing substances.
I don't know about performance enhancing.
Okay.
It's definitely enhancing something, and it's probably not the sobriety levels. I just think it's very mean that they haven't offered us any.
That is true, actually. We'd definitely switch up our tone for the commentators' booth if we were being bribed by one of the teams.
Oh, I wasn't talking about bribery. Although just to make it clear, I'm not saying I'm open to bribes, but I'm not open to bribes.
I think that's would stand up in court. Well done.
Yeah, good. Just making sure my bases are covered. There's the man of the hour himself, Ed Shardlow.
Yeah, this entire event was pretty much down to him. He recognised that the UK calendar needed the fun end of season tournament and took it upon himself to start it up again. I think last year was his first iteration. I think it's he has every plan to keep it going.
Because obviously there was definitely a period where it seemed like we wouldn't have Glasgow anymore, and it would have been an absence that was very keenly felt.
Yeah, it is a long season. We don't have that many fun tournaments in the UK, not at this scale and outside. Great shot from Guildford again, really using that open side well, and a great cut from Jack for the score, and some good pressure for Mexicans as well.
Yeah, Jack, one of many players you'll find across the UK scene who matriculated from the University of Sussex.
Yes, actually, this is a bit of a grudge match for him, isn't it?
Yeah, University of Sussex is that fine, upstanding, ultimate institution. Not that I'm biased or anything.
No, they are a powerhouse which has done very well over the years. I definitely played against Sussex. And cameraman Fluff back in my student days in Southampton. So they always...
Oh, you were a skunk.
I was a skunk.
Oh.
Yeah. For my sins and benefits.
So obviously plenty of times in jesters then.
You know it well.
Unfortunately, yes. Yes, I do.
I think if Glastonbury was a nightclub, it would be Jesters.
Wow, shots fired at Glastonbury.
All said with love.
Honest, like Jeff, how is that place still open? Genuinely beggars belief. Good force trapping them on this sideline. Swinging it off. Oh, wind's picking up a little bit now. High release over the top. Oh, that's going to be not picked up. Bit of a comedy of errors there. Somehow it wasn't intercepted, but I think they were expecting it to be, and so it wasn't ready when it eventually came to him.
Yeah, that's Charles Cranston. Just enough. He's a graduate of Lancaster Fish. So he's definitely more used to windy conditions when he was playing as a student. But that was a few years ago.
Big break around, getting off the sideline. Holding it in that scuba grip, switches to the backhand. Nice and sensible, if boring.
Oh no, that's quite a nice break. But not an end zone shot, which is what we want to see.
Give us a bit of spice, come on. Thinking about it, fakes it. Poach dissuades the underneath pass, gets it at the second attempt.
Seems to be a poach, which Guildford aren't quite using as much as they should be. Unmarked thrower, but if he's got no one to throw to, he can't score.
Nice, really nice around break, getting it off the line. Not quite, I think they're trying to stack in the end zone, but they're not organising and timing those cuts effectively.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the hammer.
There we go, they heard the commentators' wish, and they delivered. Great shot.
And that's the benefit, if you get that stack tight in the middle of the end zone, you really open up that break side, and especially, there's a bit of wind in the air, but nothing too strong, and those hammers to the break side in the end zone are increasingly a part of a team's offensive end zone arsenal, and such an effective way of doing it. I'm a big fan of the hammers.
I've been accused in my past of being a very boring, safe player, as I'm sure many people listening to this who know me might agree to.
You make me sick.
But having come through Kapow, that got beaten out of me, and certainly the more adventurous shots were always encouraged by that team.
Yeah, that stands up to scrutiny. I think it's the same thing as well playing Ultimate in Brighton, where you're so used to playing in wind, so all of a sudden doing these, whoa, that's a crazy throw in the wind, just becomes, well, that's
a throw in the wind.
It's just a throw in the wind. I think the Mexicans embody that a little bit, putting these more unusual discs up because they're just practiced with it. And if it's a throw that you've trained and you're comfortable with, let it loose. Oh my word! Do we have a super brick graphic?
So that is his worst pull of the tournament, but it's not. It's a close competitor to one this morning.
What?
Which went straight up to out the halfway line and then went straight back again to out the back of his own end zone.
I have literally zero idea why that pull was so... Oh no, hang on a minute. What time did he get back in last night?
Well, exactly.
Yeah, that checks out. And so obviously, because the pull went out so early, they're not even going to brick this, they're just going to take it from the sideline.
Well, you know, playing for a nice short pitch, so, you know, stays running around. You put all the hard work in this 10-yard space, and maybe you get the disc back.
You're just playing Japan style.
Exactly.
Take away the deep shot. He's thinking about that scuba. Oh, threads the needle.
That was too easy.
Mac faking the lefty. Right at the front of the end zone.
Not yet scored.
Just jam it in there. Jam it in there. Jam it in there. Yeah, there you go.
That was a very interesting push hammer by the looks of it.
It worked.
Slightly odd.
It worked.
They all count for one.
Which is a shame, actually. I think weird stuff should count like double, if not triple. You know, when basketball introduced a three-point shot to make things more exciting. Do it like 4-on-4 beach style, end zone to end zone counts double.
Oh, that would be good, actually. I hadn't realised that was part of the rule set.
Yeah, I know they play at tournaments like Wildwood, but they also have like a final point cap rather than just first to necessarily score. So sometimes if it's a team's one behind, you'll see a team defending the wrong end zone to stop them getting into the end zone, so they then can't bang it for the 2-pointer. It's really odd.
I quite like that. If you play frisbee the same way each time, it gets a bit boring. So why not invent some new stuff?
I only remember playing 4-on-4 indoors where the back of the end zone was the wall.
Oh yeah. There used to be a Warwick Bears indoor.
Oh, what a sick flying layout D!
There you go. He's got his shirt dirty. So that's Harsh again, one of the TSU first-year players.
I remember when TSU had a cool name. Nice hammer catch.
The Surrey Scorpions.
It's better than TSU. Oh, that's weird.
Oh,
Oh, visionary! Visionary ultimate!
You couldn't skip that. So the question is, does Rose get the assist? Does that come from the initial thrower?
Interesting. We'll have a look at the replay. See, it's one of those things where it's like when in football, when there's a big deflection, does it count as an own goal, or does it go on?
But a great point from Harsh. So I guess you count that as the bookends. He got a nice layout block and the layout score.
What? He did get the layout block, didn't he?
Yeah, great point.
Massive layout. block.
That is a bookends. That's a huge bookends.
That's either the alcohol wearing off or the alcohol kicking back in.
See it on the replay. Oh,
massive
that is filth. There's the hammer. Nice catching. Oh! Ah, that is.
But Mexicans have answered quickly. They've gained a lot of yards very quickly. I think Guildford got caught napping there slightly.
Yeah, still living off past glories perhaps, but the Mexicans can't capitalise that time. And with time ticking down, you feel that unless the Mexicans can pull something really special out of the hat, I guess out of the sombrero, probably, then it's probably too little too late at this time, but you never know.
Either that or they'll hit the piñata. Nice little break. Made safe by Gandhi.
Yeah, cheeky high release. It's always cheeky a high release, isn't
Yeah,
it?
there's no such thing as a boring high release.
No, and then, oh, that's cheeky as well, the little Swedish into the front of the end zone.
Should be another high release.
It wasn't a low release, but you're right, it wasn't particularly high. So make that 10-5 now to Guildford.
10-5 to the good. Let's go Guildford Ultimate.
You mean in a totally impartial comment, right?
I'm here purely for the colour Guildford commentary.
Really? Oh, are we doing the whole really biased towards one team commentary?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, thank God, because Guildford are terrible. I mean, I'm not talking about frisbee wise. Clearly, they're doing good frisbee wise, but just as
town, right?
just as people, just all garbage people. Hello, that ball's going to sit and hang for ages.
Coming out of the sun, but made safe by Charles, who's a bit of a lofty backhand, which didn't quite come off. Jaeger's not a bad target, given space, but unfortunately too many defenders in there to come down with it.
There's that high release. Oh,
picked off by Tickle. Oh, he's just throwing it away.
Oh dear, that's a dreadful throwaway. Let's not beat around the bush. That's certainly not what they would have had in mind. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
It's a good read of the play though to get the block, but unfortunately a bit of a lack of concentration at the end. Another huge hammer from Sion. Nick Sweetings.
Oh
no.
Izzy nearly came up with it. Nick's going to have to call an injury sub. Too much running, that's the problem. These young kids can't take it anymore.
Yeah, good use of the hand signals there. He's been taught well.
Also, I think when the last time I was at Glastonbury 3 years ago, that's pretty much exactly the same space, exactly the same place where I pulled my hamstring. So maybe there's something about that spot in the end zone that's just dangerous.
You've obviously cursed that. Hopefully it's just cramp, nothing too serious. Yeah.
Getting a little bit of love and attention on the sideline.
Yeah, for my girlfriend, so hopefully not too much love and attention.
Just sowing the seeds of dissent there. High release again.
Good use of space.
Yeah, leading Fiddler into the open area.
Yeah, great block.
And they're
Return.
gonna do a little bit of the Chuckle Brothers early on this possession, just to me, to you. Rest in peace, Bookman.
Another hammer.
Oh, going to go over the top of the Guildford defender and reeled in by the Mexicans.
Yeah, unfortunately, Amar, he knew where the player was, but just couldn't get there in time. He was just facing the wrong direction to get a good bid in place.
It's always difficult when there's a bit of wind in the end. These hammers, they helix, and you never quite know exactly the rate at which it's going to drop. And that time just hung a little bit more than he expected. Oh, it's almost warm now.
I know. Is this the Indian summer they've been talking about?
You can't say that anymore. It's non-PC. The Mexican summer.
The Mexican summer. Okay,
that's totally fine.
Well, clearly with the momentum that Mex has got, it could well be their game, if not their day.
That'd be nice. I mean, at least if they could like bring it on to sudden death and then lose, so we can laugh at them. I mean, so it's a nice tight game.
So the bounce obviously didn't have a control of that, so I think that's okay to keep possession from the Guildford. And they filled it up pool.
I mean, I agree, but that's no fun, so I'm going to disagree with you. Oh, over the head. Tried to pour it in with that left hand, couldn't get it done.
I think that massive hat got in the way.
Some ne'er-do-wells from Brixton on the sideline. So I'm back into
for their next game.
It's my kind of warm-up. Running it through the middle, thinks about the over the top. Max on that far sideline. Oh, he fakes a thumber. Do it, Mac. Nice find into space.
Yeah, the Mexicans have done very well to just pick out their receivers. Not being too active, making the disc do all the hard work for them.
Oh, that throw from Izzy does not come off at all. Nice help defense there, covering the deepest player, stopping that big going up early.
So despite how calm Mex were on offense, they've actually done very well to put pressure on defense, and a great line toe in from Tom Davies to keep the player alive.
That's an excellent toe, ballerina-esque.
He's moved across from rugby, so I don't want to say much about his previous rugby team, but clearly maybe ballet was a part of it.
I mean, so much of sport is footwork dependent. Yeah. And that's nice flying offense from Guildford, and that's going to wrap things up here. I didn't hear the who to go, but evidently it had, and Guildford will advance on to the semi-finals with an 11-6 win over the Mexicans.
Very good game.
That was fun. I enjoyed that. There was some nice bits, and I just wanted to see more thumbers. Really, they let me down.
Yeah, they went for the thumber fakes, but never the thumber throws.
Was that Will? Just gonna have a little look at our. Should we call it a play of the day? The moment of magic. This was after the replay of the final score, just flowing it down this near side channel. That's about as easy as final score as you can have. See the teams make their handshakes. They're going to go into their spirit circle. Obviously, everything's going to be in high spirits.
Yeah, there seems to be many well-spirited games despite possible hangovers and tiredness, but I think every game I've seen so far this weekend has been played very competitively.
Yeah, it can be pretty easy when you're as tired as hungover as some of the people here surely are to get a bit wound up too much. But here we are. We're going to see our moment of the match. They go flying through with it. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's just silly. And then here was the catch of the hammer, which is a good hammer catch, but it's kind of lost in the shuffle because of that. And then that. That's about as good and also a ridiculous a bookends as you're likely to see. And he quite rightly gets a bit of a mob from his teammates. And we had a Callahan on in that game as well.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
And it almost got lost in the shuffle because of all that.
Everything else that was happening.
Ridiculousness late on. So that's a hell of a game. Looking forward to seeing the highlights of that later on. But we're going to have a little wrap up now. Going to have a little break before we rejoin you as well. So thanks very much. I've been Benjamin Rees.
I've been Nick Roberts.
And we will see you later.
more songs about love or about pain. I keep my head up above the clouds, 'cause I got no time to be brought